today we got Blackmobb Shootashellz, man. Blackmobb Shootashellz. Blackmobb Shootashellz, and I would be remiss if I didn't say RIP to Blackmobb Shootashellz, man. All right, with that out the way, man. If you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button and thumb up the video, as this gets this information out to more people. And as more people see it, they can potentially subscribe. And that's what keeps me motivated to keep bringing out these videos, man. So y'all keep liking these videos and showing the love, man. It keeps me motivated to keep bringing this content out, man. A lot of research and stuff and time really ultimately goes goes into these videos and is involved in this. So I appreciate it when I see all of the likes and comments and everything. So definitely do that, guys, and I appreciate everybody that's here and all my mods that have showed love. I appreciate y'all too, man. And go follow my mods though. But let's jump right into this paperwork, as we have Shootashellz, Blackmobb Shootashellz here today. And for the first document we have is a Chicago Police Department case supplementary report, an exceptionally clear, open, other exceptional report for a homicide and first-degree murder, a 0110 code, which is always a homicide, and date of occurrence for this was a July 10th, 2017 at 0932 hours. The date this form was submitted was April 16th, 2022 at 093100 hours. This is a field investigation, exceptionally clear, open, other exceptional report. Victims: 1, Dole Cedron, male, black, 21 years, date of birth year is 95. Gang information: listed criminal organization is Conservative Vice Lords. Suspects: 1, Christopher Jackson, alias Lil Chris, male, black, 25 years. Description: 5 feet 4, 135 pounds, black hair, short hair, brown eyes, medium complexion. All right. And we get down into victims' injuries. Dole Cedron suffered a gunshot wound from a firearm. Extent was fatal. He was transported to a hospital. The vehicle, so there was a vehicle that was, anytime they list vehicle information, potentially a vehicle was damaged within this event of the homicide. And this was a Chevrolet Impala hardtop 4-door. Color, top bottom, was black on black. Description: bullet holes to driver side window, body, and front tire. Cedron owner was Cedron Doles. All right. And we're going to swipe past that. And it does list the vehicle damaged again. And we have a witness. Person discovering the body was a male, black, 22 years. All right. And we have an investigation and the date and time of the incident. The victim was a Cedron Doles. He is deceased, male, 121 years, gang affiliation, BPSN Terrortown. Victim's clothing: 1 black t-shirt, 1 black sweatpants, 1 pair of black boots, black socks, black clothes. Yeah, man. All right. Offender number 1, a Jackson Christopher, aka Lil Chris. He is deceased. He was a male, 125. Date of birth year is 95. All right. And then we have number 2 and number 3. We have injuries. Cedron Doles sustained multiple gunshot wounds to his head, torso, and legs. Doles was pronounced at 0940 hours by nurse redacted at University of Chicago Hospital on July 10, 2017. CFD engine number 129 was on the scene. The weapons seems to be an unknown make or model of a .40 caliber semi-automatic pistol with a unknown make model 9mm semi-automatic pistol. It was 78 degrees Fahrenheit, partly cloudy with natural lighting, meaning sunshine. All right. Manner and motive is: victim exited his residence and walked to his vehicle when 3 offenders exited a parked white Nissan Altima and shot the victim multiple times / gang related. Identified by witness redacted and by Illinois state identification recovered from the victim. Vehicle used, white Nissan Altima. And they list their evidence here. It's quite a bit of evidence. Seems they have a lot of fired bullets, man. It seems they let off a lot of rounds in this homicide. All right, and we have an interviewed section here that is redacted, and we have an investigation. The reporting detectives were assigned to a homicide located at the 8142 South Polina Street by Sergeant Burke of Area 2 Violent Crimes. The reporting detectives relocated to Area 8142 South Polina Street, where they were met by Beat 614, who directed the reporting detectives to a male black that was lying in the street covered by a blue bedsheet. The reporting detectives observed the victim lying face up approximately 2 feet southeast of a parked black Chevrolet Impala bearing Indiana license plate redacted. An Indiana certificate of vehicle registration of the above vehicle showed the owner to be a Cedron E. Doles of 410 North Walnut, South Bend, Indiana. The entire perimeter in the front of the residence is located between 8130 through 8150 South Polina Street have been cordoned off with yellow crime scene tape. Additionally, the entire city block of 8100 South Polina was cordoned off with yellow crime scene tape, and pedestrian and vehicular traffic was not allowed. Uniformed patrol officers assigned to the 006 district were given specific fixed posts in order to protect the integrity of the crime scene, and access / egress was limited / restricted to authorized Chicago Police Department personnel. These officers assigned to crime scene protection remained at their appointed posts until the scene was completely processed, and they were released by the Chicago Police Department Forensic Division and the reporting detectives. The reporting detectives noted that the surrounding neighborhood was predominantly composed of single-family dwellings and multi-unit apartment buildings. The 8100 block of South Paulina Street had a one-way south traffic flow. The reporting detectives observed approximately 38 .40 caliber and 5 9mm expended shell cartridges scattered in the street and atop the Chevrolet Impala spread out from 8138 to 8146 South Polina Street. The reporting detectives observed several southwesternly facing bullet ricochet marks in the street approximately 2 to 4 feet east of the Impala. The reporting detectives observed blood splatter on the front driver's side wheel of the Impala, and blood splatter going in a southwesterly direction from the victim's head area. The reporting detectives observed several fired and fragmented bullets within the crime scene area, 8138 to 8146 South Polina Street. The reporting detectives observed 2 pools of blood, which contained several particles of human tissue near the victim's head and left arms. Reporting detectives observed multiple bullet holes throughout the victim's head, torso, left arm, and legs. The reporting detectives observed the victim had a tattoo of a 5-pointed star in red/black with the number 75 on the left side of his chest. The victim also had a tattoo in the middle of his chest of 2 assault rifles crisscrossed with the capital letter I behind it. The victim was wearing a black ankle monitoring bracelet around his right ankle. The victim had 1,301 U.S. currency dollars, Chase Visa card, Illinois Link card, and an Illinois state identification card with his name and picture in his left front pants pocket. A cell phone was recovered from the victim's right front pants pocket. Subsequently, beats 5810, 5812, and 5814 noted the positions of all the physical evidence, sketched, photographed, and videotaped the entire crime scene. All the recovered items of evidentiary value were then inventoried and submitted to the Illinois State Police Crime Laboratory for processing and analysis. Redacted witness. The reporting detectives interviewed redacted at the crime scene located at 81 Redacted South Paulina Street on July 10, 2017. Redacted stated that he, the victim, Cedron Doles, were like brothers and that Redacted took the victim in at age 10. Redacted stated the victim's biological parents were both deceased. Redacted stated that on today's date, July 10, 2017, he and the victim exited the residence located at Redacted North and walked southbound on the west side of Paulina to the victim's parked car. Redacted stated that he and the victim were going to court at 26th Street to support a friend. That he and the victim were going to court at 26th Street to support a friend. Redacted stated that as he and the victim approached the victim's parked car, Black Impala, located at 8142 South Paulina Street, the victim approached. The victim unlocked the car with the remote control. 3 male blacks exited a parked white Nissan, brandishing weapons. Redacted stated the 3 male blacks were all wearing black hoodies and all 3 male blacks began firing multiple gunshots in the victim's direction. Redacted stated he heard more than 20 gunshots. Redacted stated he ran southbound on Paulina Street from 8142. Redacted stated the 3 offenders entered the waiting white Nissan, which was driven from the area southbound on Paulina Street from 8142 and then eastbound on 82nd Street from Paulina Street and out of Redacted view. Redacted stated 2 of the offenders entered the backseat of the white Nissan. Redacted stated 1 offender entered the front passenger seat of the white Nissan. Redacted stated the white Nissan had been parked on the east side of the street behind a gray Buick in front of the residence located at approximately Redacted when the 3 offenders exited the car and began shooting. Redacted stated that the reason the victim's Black Impala was parked so far down the block was because there were no parking spaces in front of the building located at Redacted the previous evening. Redacted stated that the Black Impala had tinted windows. This interview was concluded. Redacted. The reporting detectives interviewed Redacted at the crime scene located at 8142 South Paulina Street on July 10, 2017. Redacted stated she is the victim's Cedrin Doles. Redacted stated the victim's deceased mother, Felicia Doles Mitchell, was Redacted, stated she brought the victim to Chicago from Flint, Michigan in 2006 along with the victim's 2 brothers and 1 sister. Redacted stated the last time she spoke to the victim was yesterday, July 9, 2017 via telephone. Redacted stated their conversation was mostly small talk. Redacted stated the victim did not indicate anyone wanted to hurt him. Redacted stated that the victim's brother, Craig Mitchell, was also killed by gunfire on May 29, 2014. Redacted stated that she learned the victim was killed from the victim's Redacted. This interview was concluded. Pod cameras. The reporting detectives requested pods located at 1586 West 81st Street and a bunch of streets. You can pause that there and grab these cameras locations. We have private cameras. The reporting detectives located private video cameras affixed to the buildings located at Redacted Street. Redacted. The owners of the building located at Redacted and Redacted informed reporting detectives that their cameras were not working. The reporting detectives were able to view footage from the Redacted and the private residence located at Redacted. The video footage captured at the Redacted in the private building showed a white vehicle with tinted windows driving eastbound on 82nd Street through Ashland Avenue and out of view moments after the murder. Reporting detectives believe said vehicle was a 2014 and 2016 Nissan Altima. Said video was retrieved/downloaded by Tech Lab personnel. Said private videos were inventoried under inventory number Redacted. On July 11, 2017, Dr. Redacted performed an autopsy on the remains of Cedrin Doles and determined the cause and manner of death to be multiple gunshot wounds/homicide. External examination. 10 gunshot wounds enter right temple area, exit left side of head. 4 gunshot wounds to lower right chest. Gunshot wound to upper right chest, upper right abdomen, lower left abdomen, through nose, inner side of right bicep, inner side of right thigh, right lower leg, inner side of right ankle. Gunshot wounds too numerous to completely document. Internal examination. Multiple projectiles and fragments recovered. Reporting detectives learned through firearm analysis that 4 different handguns were used in this homicide of Doles. Three .40 caliber weapons, whereby 38 .40 caliber cartridge cases were recovered, and one 9mm weapon, whereby five 9mm cartridge casings were recovered at the crime scene. On July 10, 2017, Redacted, hours after the murder, while a passenger in a vehicle driven by Redacted, was arrested and charged with armed habitual criminal for possessing a 9mm handgun with a laser sight. This incident was reported under RD number redacted. The recovered weapon was a Taurus 9mm handgun with a defaced serial number, which was inventoried under RD number redacted. The reporting detectives requested a direct comparison of this recovered weapon and the 9mm expended shell cartridge casings recovered at the redacted crime scene located at 8142 South Paulina Street. The results of this submission were negative. It should be noted that Redacted is an eyewitness to this murder and was initially uncooperative with this investigation. Redacted is currently in federal custody, registered number Redacted, at the Redacted. A second interview of Redacted was conducted at the Redacted. This second interview is memorialized later in this report. At the time of this murder, the Federal Bureau of Investigation was conducting an investigation into the No Limit Street Gang. The No Limit Street Gang is a faction of the Black Keystone Nation. At an Area 2 shooting meeting, FBI agents related that cell phone tower data placed Redacted and Chris Jackson, aka Lil Chris, in the area of this murder located at 8142 South Paulina Street before and after the murder on July 10, 2017, between the hours of 0730 and 0932. The reporting detective was informed that the cell tower data was obtained through a federal grand jury subpoena. Redacted and Jackson are members of the No Limit Street Gang, located primarily in the 004 Police District. It should be noted that the victim was a member of the Terrortown BPSN. It should be further noted that the victim was a rapper whose street name was Shootashellz. The victim produced a rap video titled Death of 150. The rap song Death of 150 was a hate-filled song containing threats directed at the No Limit Street Gang and its members, both dead and alive. It should be noted that on August 3, 2018, Christopher Jackson was shot in the abdomen at 7626 South Kingston Avenue. This shooting was recorded under RD number redacted. On September 3, 2018, Jackson succumbed to his gunshot wounds and was pronounced dead at 13:36 hours at the University of Chicago Hospital by Dr. Redacted. An autopsy was performed, and this case was ruled a homicide. Redacted was subsequently charged with first-degree murder in the shooting death of Christopher Jackson. On January 6, 2020, the reporting detective, accompanied by detectives, special agents, and another special agent from Homeland Security, also special agents from FBI, Homeland Security, and detectives from CPD, relocated to the Redacted for the purpose of this interview. The reporting detectives and company were escorted into the correctional facility and were led into a conference room where an interview of inmate Redacted would be conducted. At approximately 14:15 hours EST, Redacted was led into the conference room by a Bureau of Prison staff member, and the interview began. Redacted witness. On the date that the victim said Doles was killed, Redacted stated he walked with Doles to his car. Redacted stated he noticed a white Nissan parked on the east side of the street and parked a few car lengths to the north. Redacted stated Doles' vehicle was parked on the west side of the street. Redacted stated three male black subjects exited the white Nissan, all wearing black hoodies. Redacted stated two of the three male black subjects wore dreadlocks and were medium to dark complexion. Redacted stated that three offenders were approximately Redacted height. Redacted stated he was on the passenger side of Doles' vehicle while Doles was standing in the street. Redacted stated that the three male black subjects offenders started shooting at Doles. Redacted stated he did not see the driver of the white Nissan shooting, just the three offenders. Redacted stated he ran southbound and then westbound and out of view of the offenders. Later that day, July 10, 2017, Redacted was arrested for armed habitual criminal. The reporting detectives and agents did not question Redacted about this arrest. In an attempt to identify the offenders, the reporting detectives showed Redacted 5 separate photo arrays. Each photo array contains 6 color photographs. The reporting detectives read the photo live lineup advisory form whereby Redacted agreed to view the photo array and wished to not be video or audio taped. Because of manpower issues, there was not an independent administrator used for these photo arrays. Redacted signed the advisory form and viewed all 5 photo arrays, which were subsequently identified 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Redacted did not make an identification in photo arrays number 1 and number 5. Redacted did recognize Redacted as an OPS/shooter in photo array number 2. Redacted did recognize Redacted in photo array number 4, indicating that Redacted and Redacted attended grade school together. Redacted also stated that he did not think that Redacted would do something like that. Finally, in photo array number 3, Redacted selected the suspect in position number 2 and positively identified Chris Jackson, Redacted stating, "Chris, he was out there shooting. I know Chris from the neighborhood as Lil Chris, Mad Max." The advisory form and photo arrays were subsequently inventoried under Redacted. This interview was February 12, 2020. The reporting detectives Spremo Robinson met with special agents, FBI, and Homeland Security at Area 2 located at Redacted 11th Street. The reporting detectives and agents shared past interview notes. The reporting detectives requested from Agent Nguyen the telephone records that placed Redacted, aka Redacted, and Chris Jackson, deceased, aka Mad Max/Lil Chris, in the area of 8142 South Polina Street at the time of the murder. Agent Nguyen related that reporting detectives would need to be added to this federal grand jury list in order to receive materials related to this cell site data. On June 11th, 2020, FBI agent Nguyen forwarded to the reporting detectives T-Mobile telephone records obtained through federal legal process for telephone number Redacted. Redacted is telephone number belonging to Chris Jackson, aka Lil Chris. As of this report, telephone records for suspect Upshaw Redacted have not been obtained. Details pertaining to this investigation, statements, and evidence are documented in FBI 302 reports. The reported mobile data for telephone number Redacted to the Area 2 Telephone Technology Center, whereby Detective Mendez analyzed the data. In summary, these phone records indicated that Chris Jackson's telephone, Redacted on July 10, 2017, was present near the murder scene and left immediately after the murder was perpetrated. This cell phone analysis was subsequently inventoried under number Redacted. It has been proven to the satisfaction of the Chicago Police Department that Chris Jackson was one of the 3 offenders who shot and killed Cedron Doles on July 10, 2017 at 8142 South Polina Street. All evidence recovered in this investigation was submitted and tested by the Illinois State Police Crime Lab, and nothing in the testing contradicts the findings. For a detailed synopsis of the investigation, see the FBI 302 reports. Based on the positive identification of Chris Jackson as one of the shooters in this investigation, cell phone records placing Chris Jackson at the crime scene before and after the murder and the death of the offender Chris Jackson, the reporting detectives request that this case be reclassified exceptionally cleared open death of the offender. Detective Donald Clark, Area 2, Homicide.